more emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
In my kingdom, my land, my country, we have fought for centuries, stood next to our brothers who bled on the battlefield for our rights as men. But no longer! Now we stand together in unity against one common foe. Come, brothers and sisters, today we fight a new battle! We fight for the right to chat inconsistently about whatever we feel like, steal and marry broads from other countries, and enjoy a quiet night of gaming. You're listening to ShowX live on vtwproductions.com. Okay, stop. Okay, stop it, stop.
Dysfunctional deviations.
Hello, you are listening to ShowX on vtwproductions.com. I forgot how embarrassing that intro is. I recorded it a few years ago, and I at the time I thought it was really funny, and looking back it just feels a little bit cringy. But I like it up until the sequence, until the little like blah, 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 blah. It's fine until then. The Scottish bit's good, but the next bit's just a bit cringy. But anyway, it made me laugh regardless. I'm gonna keep it because I like it. You are listening to ShowX on vtwproductions.com. My name is Ken, and we are here on this podcast, ShowX. I say we, that is in the singular form. That's the singular form because Wayne is not here this week. And I have had to heavily improvise on not only how to do the show in general, as in the structure and the fact that I actually need to talk for more than half the amount that normally, not half the amount of what I will have to do today, right? So I had to come up with that stuff, but also how to physically do the show, due to the fact that normally I would do the show at my home, but with Linux installed on my broken machine and unable to use OBS without, you know, learning 6 years of Ubuntu Linux command line skills. Never mind setting up virtual audio cables and all the other junk that needs done with it. I decided just to use the Windows machine at my university. So I'm actually using my work machine for this. And we tried this before, about 2 years ago. And we found that this is not a good solution. Due to the fact that, it just kept falling over, pretty much. The audio was not good. So, what we've done is to compromise. I have put down the quality to 720p, and we're no longer using Sam Broadcaster at all. It is just YouTube, which is a good thing in my opinion, because screw Sam. I think Sam was the problem. Sam requires a Firebird database backend and everything running at the same time, so screw that noise. Let's just do plain old YouTube, and then we can strip the audio afterwards, and then that's great. If you could tell me how the audio is, I would be very much appreciative, because I tested it earlier a little bit, but with having to mute and unmute and so on and so forth for the music, I want to make sure everything sounds okay. I have a feeling it might be a little loud actually, the music. Let me put it down a touch. Alright, how about that? The levels look cleaner to me now. Okay. I do apologize, they're too loud before. So, I said that I was gonna have to improvise the structure here, and I have like 1,000 things. I actually prepared for this show. That's how much I care today. I brought in all the crap that I needed to actually do the show, hardware-wise. I lugged it across Sterling, plugged it in, installed all the drivers, and all this stuff. I have like an audio mixing table here, professional mic, camera, all that stuff that I had to bring. But I actually prepared for the show in terms of content as well. I've got like 1,000 links here I need to look through. I'm not going to get through them all by any means, but I have a lot of talking points today. Kuro says, this sounds better than normal, like a lot better than normal. Hey, well, if this is a solution, I'd be happy to host like this in the future, because the thing is, we have 1 gigabit per second internet here, so it should be nice quality. Not only that, but because I'm hosting, my Yeti Pro actually is not getting compressed by Skype anymore. You're hearing the pure version of the Yeti going through a soundboard, right? So it's not even being filtered by Skype's horrible servers, or through USB. This should be as crisp as it can possibly be. Alright? So hopefully you can hear my voice like it never has been heard before. So first of all, before we begin the actual content, I wanted to give a shout out to Leo Moracchioli. I think I actually pronounced that right for the first time ever. Also known as Leo from Frog Leap Studios. His music was entirely the pre-show, apart from one song, I think. So I want to give several shoutouts to him. Not just one, several shoutouts. First of all, I actually found, out of my own personal curiosity, as you can see my guitar sitting behind me there, he actually has a bunch of tabs for his music on Ultimate Guitar. So if you are particularly interested, the link is in the show notes. So if you want to learn any of his dozens of metal versions of songs, the guitar is all up there. You can go and see all the tabs if you want for like the songs Africa, Believer, Chandelier, Dark Horse, Feel Good Inc., Gangster's Paradise, Hey Jude. All those metal versions by Leo are all available up there. Many of them in Guitar Pro or Tab Pro forms. So if you actually pay for the subscription or have a high enough ranking like I do to get access to that, you can actually hear the music as it plays as well. Ultimate Guitar is a great website for those learning guitar, by the way. So check them out there. Just search for Frog Leap Studios or Leo Moracchioli Ultimate Guitar and you'll find his stuff there. Next, for actually checking him out, go to youtube.com/user/Leo Lego. Or just search for Frog Leap Studios in Google. You'll find him there too. That's where you can find all this music on YouTube for free. Check out there. Finally, if you want to actually have the MP3s like we have here, you can actually get them yourself for the cheapest price ever. And I was blown away by how good this is, because it's really kind of Leo to give this out for so cheaply. $1 per video, and you get access to his full library. Meaning, if you just pay $1, you can have his whole library, then cancel your subscription anyway, right? So it's $1. It's probably 85 pence right now. For his entire library, and I can tell you how many songs that is. It's a lot. 162 songs you'll get for $1. Like, the amount of editing time that he has put into that is worth probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. So the fact that we get this for $1 is insane. So thank you, Leo, for giving us the rights to play that play your music on this podcast and let everybody enjoy it. But we're also happy to advertise your stuff because you deserve it, frankly. You're a very nice man for letting us use your music and for allowing people to access it so cheaply. So check out. Just Google Frog Leap Studios for all the above that I mentioned. You can find it all there. Alright, so as was mentioned last week by the lovely Copster, who sent an email wishing me a happy birthday. It was my birthday on when was my birthday? 3 days ago. I should know this. On Thursday there was my birthday, and I turned 26. Which is funny, because for about 3 or 4 months this year, when I met... Well, actually, a multi-layer story here. So first of all, you know what Facebook tells you occasionally? It's like, you made 17 friends this year. I think mine's was on, like, 42 or something. So I've made a bunch of friends due to joining new societies and everything. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Kuro. That's very kind of you. So because of this, all these new friends and the likes, people were often asking me, how old are you? They said, like, hey, like, you're a teacher, you work in a uni, I mean, you're a student, but you're also married, and you also say you work in industry, and yada yada yada, so you must be, like, not just straight into PhD kind of level, you must be a bit older, and people have estimated my age in their early 30s a few times, right? I don't know why, I think I've got a bit of a baby face, personally, but, and I said, oh no, I'm actually 26. Because for some reason, for 3 months this year, I thought I was 26. No idea why. No idea. I just for a long time, I thought I was 26, so... As far as I'm aware, I've actually gained a year of my life back. Or lost a year in the first place, I don't know. I don't know how you want to look at it. I'm a glasses half full kind of guy, I guess. So I gained a year. So that was amusing. So it was my birthday, and that was enjoyable. Quite a chill day. I've got a ridiculous amount of work on just now. So I spent most of my day doing work. However, went out for the evening and enjoyed a mini pub crawl, let's call it. We went to like 3 pubs in town with the Photography Society. Now, speaking of the Photography Society, it's a good time for me to do another shout out. I've been doing loads more photography thanks to these guys. I've been really inspired to go out with my camera and just do more stuff with those guys on the nights, etc. I'm going to actually see if I can share my images, share my screen here. Let me see. Can I do, if I do it here? Hold on, this might take a few seconds for me to work this out. So those in the video wall, there we go. I think you can see now. Okay, there is my screen. I don't know if you can see my mouse. No, you can't. Okay, that's fine. So, oh, you can. Cool. So here is my DeviantArt page, and here is some of the photos that I took. Some of the better photos I took in the past week. So I'm quite proud of these. We had a portrait photography night, where we got a couple of the very old school lights from the darkroom that we have here. And we took them out, and this old sheet of like cloth that we put over a wall, and with our shoddy, half-assed attempt at doing a photography studio, we did some modeling shots, and it was a lot of fun because we all had to take turns doing the modeling, of course, because you know we're a photography society, not a modeling society, so we don't have models on hand. So we had to just ask the photographers. So we all had a turn. Thankfully, the photos of me, I've not seen many of them, although I felt very awkward modeling. It's a little strange standing up there with, you know, there's approximately 10 photographers with all their flashes going off around me. The bright, dazzling lights in front of me. It's a little, you feel like you're on the Hollywood walkway there. But it was good fun. Got a lot of shots I was very happy with, actually. I think it turned out really well. Some of these are quite professional looking. The editing I did here was very minimal. On the left-hand side here of this photo, I did make this a little bit darker over here so to accentuate the shadow. But otherwise, all I did is just do a little bit of smoothing and general smoothing for the whole photo, actually, just to get rid of some noise more than anything. And I was very happy with the way the lighting turned out, etc. It looks very nice. And I gotta say, a lot of people were very good models, considering that this was, you know, none of them were professionals. We all just stood there and did what we could do. And yeah, it turned out quite nicely, just because people were having a good time, they were relaxed and smiling, and that can make a world of difference if people are just smiling and enjoying themselves while they do this. So we had a lot of fun. Some people brought dresses and like suits and stuff and changed in between so they could have multiple attempts at going up and doing the modeling thing. But some people didn't model at all, they weren't comfortable as well. It was really good fun, and thanks very much to the Stirling University Photography Society for letting me have a good time with them. It's been good fun. So you can check out my stuff there on gohex.deviantart.com, or otherwise you can check out my Flickr. Oh, I've got a notification for the first time ever. Oh, cool. You can see my stuff here, if I can find my own stuff here. Yep, so this is the full shoot here. On DeviantArt it's just the best ones, but here is pretty much all the shots that I decided not to delete. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with photography recently. And the reason I bring this up was not just because I wanted to show off my photography, but because if you go here, in fact, if you just go to Google, you type in VTW, you scroll down a little bit, and click on VTWproductions.com like that. Go to Forums at the top, and scroll down, once you go into the forum itself, to the ShowX board. You will find the ShowX 21st Art Contest in here. In here we have a bunch of different themes. We have experimental, Halloween, first attempt, fireworks, algorithm, which nobody's taken up on so far, and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, a quote by Aristotle. Now we've increased the number of submissions allowed for this contest up to 5 to try and encourage people to take part and just, you know, because right now we've only ever had like maximum maybe 15 or so pieces. So if we have the same number of people taking part, hopefully putting in a piece or more, we can maybe go up to like 25 or so, who knows. That would be nice. The end date is November 26th, which is not too shabby considering that is over a month and a week and a bit away. So you've got a long time to come take part. I have now already put in all mine, so I put all of mine under the first attempt and experimental genres because I was a bit early for Halloween. So I hope that other people are encouraged to take part and do similar things where they try out new styles of art, try drawing for the first time, try something you don't usually do. Use this as an opportunity to take part in the art contest. That's what we're really trying to do here, because we have fun doing it, and both this and my photography society is really encouraging me to go out and do some stuff this way, be productive in my spare time, not just have fun, because you can do both, right? And so that's what I've been doing. Right. So go check that out. It's a load of fun. All right. Yeah, so that's the photography contest, the art contest. Go check out that. So I was mentioning on my birthday, went out with the photo society, and that was good fun. I want to give a shout out to my lovely, lovely wife, who gave me some very personal gifts that I don't want to mention too much on air, but it was including a little, like, I don't know how to describe it, sort of like a photo book where she sort of labeled certain things, and it was it was called Ken is Awesome, is the front cover, and it was lots of, she gave me like 26 reasons as to why I was awesome, and it was really sweet. So I really do thank that. Thank you, my lovely wife. She also gave me a dash cam, which was a neat gift. So I now have a dash cam in the car. Sadly, the cable is really short, and the way that my new car works is that it kind of hides the friggin' USB slots way far down from the screen, so I need to get like a really long cable or something. But I want to find a way to do this with it, but while being safe. I don't want to have like cables floating around next to my periphery when I'm trying to drive, because I don't want to get caught on something when I'm trying to change gear or whatever. So I'll see how that works out. But I've got a nice little dash cam, and I'm excited to try that out and see what I can do with it. Alright, so that's been my week, and I know it's really dull and boring, but it's because everything else I've been spending maybe like 12 hours a day in this office doing work. So what else I have here is, instead of the previous attempts, which I felt was like an unprofessional attempt at doing news, I think I'm going to try to do some news that's actually interesting and relevant to the West in particular, American peoples and the British peoples. And maybe Europe as well, touch on that as well. And a mix of like technology, science, and just things I find interesting, and maybe some other major news. I want to talk about some stuff here. So, first of all, shout out to BBC for providing this article. It's fresh warnings as powerful storm heads to the UK. So this was a little bit interesting to me because we don't really get hurricanes, right? Hurricanes is not a thing that happens in the UK ever. I think the last one was in the 80s. But the Met Office has issued Northern Ireland in particular with an amber weather warning as Hurricane Ophelia continues across the Atlantic towards the British Isles. Now, there has been a warning of potential danger to life to the Republic of Ireland included in this yellow alert, this amber alert. So it's currently blowing winds of 90 miles per hour, and by 2 AM Monday, I think is about when it's reaching sort of like national shores. Blowing through Ireland into Northern Ireland and then sweeping across central northern Scotland. And it's interesting because we, like I said, we never get really adverse weather other than the fact it's always freaking raining here. But they've also issued 3 battalions of soldiers now on permanent standby to deal with major incidents in the UK to do with this weather alert. So we are taking this seriously from the looks of it, which is good because it's kind of scary for us. We're not used to this kind of weather, and I don't know if the UK is actually prepared to deal with this kind of weather, both with the way that we've built our buildings and architecture, as well as how the councils have prepared their towns and how our emergency services are going to respond. I mean, like, we are not really made for this kind of weather. Ophelia set the record for the most easterly Category 3 hurricane in the Atlantic ever. So this is a big deal for us over here. Category 3 hurricanes are defined as having wind speeds of between 111 mile per hour and 129 mile per hour. So it can cause major damage to well-built homes, says the article. So it's a big thing for us over here, and wish us luck, because this is something that's never really happened to us before, and I've seen all the tragedies that's been going across the US in the recent, well, the past year really, with storms. So let's hope that we don't get any repeats of that over here. The Telegraph reports very similarly about the 1,000 troops standing by. The forecasters are saying to keep a close eye on the arrival of tropical storm, which will also hit northern areas of England, it says here, which I didn't really mention before. And it will invoke memories of the Great Storm of 1987, I did say it was in the 80s, on the 30th anniversary, weirdly enough, to the week. Which is a little strange. And I just realized that you guys can hear the article music. Let me turn that off. Apologies. That was the Telegraph's autoplay. Boo, autoplay. So it's the 30th anniversary of the Great Storm of 1987, which resulted in the loss of 22 lives. So we are being very careful with this, including traffic chaos being expected as well as other things. Meanwhile, it says large parts of southern and eastern England will see temperatures rocket. Okay. Very interesting, and I'm not so caring about that. It's more the sort of tragedy part that was interesting. Here's something else we have I want to discuss a little bit. This is leading MPs right now in the UK, MP being a member of parliament, right? So it's our version of a congressman or congress-lady. Our members of parliament are arranged of a variety of parties. Let me actually look at the ones that are currently in power. We have the Labour Party, which is not the current main party in the UK. I think they are second biggest power right now in the UK. But the first we have is the Conservative Party, who are right now joined with the Unionist Party, the DUP, who are a fairly right-wing organisation. It's the strongest right-wing government we've had in a long time. Currently in charge of our country is Theresa May, who was not voted in originally. She actually took over for David Cameron, who resigned during the Brexit negotiations. Because he put forward the gambit of Brexit won't happen, but let's put in a vote for the people anyway to quell this uprising, and then suddenly everybody voted for Brexit, surprisingly, at least to the Conservative Party. And so he resigned due to the fact that he lost his gambit. Theresa May took over, who is the current leader of the Conservative Party, and the Unionist Party is also conjoined with them right now. Followed by the Labour Party, SNP, Liberal Democrats, and so on, so on. Lots of parties. We currently have, in fact, just for the US people, we currently have 15 parties in our parliament, and probably maybe some others as well. But they have a wide range of policies, from very right-wing to very left-wing. Many centrist ones are currently the ones in the lead. In fact, the top four all have the word centre in their political positions on at least Wikipedia. So they are certainly considered very centric government. But because of that, right now, we actually have kind of a strange situation in the UK, with the huge amount of political turmoil in the past few years. We've had Brexit, where Britain is leaving the EU, our economic union within Europe. And we also had the recent referendum for Scotland leaving Britain. And one of the biggest debates that I've been hearing non-stop on the radio this week as well is to do with the fact that originally, one of the promises of Britain to Scotland was that you should stay with Britain, because then you have then you're assured to be part of the economic union, or the EU, right? So you should definitely stay in Britain, Scotland. But then, as soon as Scotland voted to stay with Britain then votes to leave the EU. So there's a lot of Scottish people right now who are very upset by the fact that they were convinced to stay under something of a false premise. One could say, right? And so there's been a lot of turmoil just with that. And since Theresa May wasn't originally voted in, she herself had a vote earlier this year. She encouraged a vote in order to what she thought would be gain more ground. At the time, that was quite a good move, but over the months, her leadership debates that she conducted, the few that she did, were very poor, and she lost a lot of seats for her party through this election, and ended up being a poor gambit again by the Conservative Party. So that's kind of the stuff what's been going on right now in the UK and the turmoil of the politics. But in the past week, we've been having a lot of discussion as to how we're going to be leaving Europe, our exact detailed plans, negotiations of how we're going to take part in the Brexit process. Because it's not really been done before where somebody leaves the EU, and generally speaking, when you leave the EU, you have a bill to pay. Usually the EU has helped out your country with certain things, or certain projects are supposed to last over the next few years or decades, and so they want that money back. They basically say, we invested in you under the assumption that you would still be in the EU, but you're now leaving the EU, so we want that money back. And so there is a very, very large bill in the number of billions, right, that we would have to pay the EU in order to leave the EU. And people are saying, there's a mixed message. Some people are saying that us leaving the EU will be great because it'll open us up to more, to bargain our own economic trials with other countries, such as countries in Asia, importantly, Africa and America as well. Instead of having to go through the EU for everything, it means that we're not going to be held down by Brussels. It means that we could, in theory, negotiate our own trade deals, which could be more beneficial to Britain itself. However, with that massive price of leaving the EU, being profitable, if it will take a number of years, if not decades, to become so. Now, that doesn't mean it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? If it takes hundreds of years, obviously it's a bad thing. If it takes like 5 years of us being in a economically a poor place, but overall become a better and our children are better off, of course, is a good decision, right? So it is a bit back and forth. We don't know what the future holds, and due to all this uncertainty, the share prices have plummeted. And that's why, if you remember a few years ago, whenever I used to talk about we've talked about Steam sales and everything, right? I would say like it's $30, therefore that's about £16 is what I would usually say, because it was a little bit more than half back in the day. £1 was about $1.90 or so a few years ago. Now it's the case that £1 is approximately $1.09. In fact, let me find out the pound to dollar ratio right now. It's $1.33 to the pound. So it's pretty crappy, right? We've been having a over the years, it's been getting worse and worse. Since 2014, where it was 175, now it's down to 130. That's a crazy exchange rate difference. And so, with all that going on, I actually had a point to say here, but I ended up going a little bit too far down the rabbit hole here. Due to all the negotiations that are going on with the Brexit right now, leading MPs have teamed up, both Labour and Conservatives. So these two traditionally opposing parties, where the Conservatives are the right-wing leaning party, who traditionally are more nationalistic and more pro-companies and helping out companies with tax reliefs, etc., and smaller government type stuff, whereas the Labour Party have been more big government, more unions, that kind of thing over there. So they're very much been opposing in the years, and it used to be the case that they would swap places. They would swap places in Parliament, until that sort of all got mixed up in the past 10 years. And now, a cross-party, not coalition, but a group of MPs are planning to block Theresa May, who is our Prime Minister and in charge of the Conservative Party. But some of the Conservatives and some of the Labour are getting together to say we're blocking the leader of the Conservatives, the current Prime Minister of the UK, from crashing out on a deal with the EU, because we want to leave on better terms than paying the whole bill. We'd like to pay over the years, or we'd like to get some money back on it, or maybe have some projects that can keep going, some don't, or a slow exit, right? Instead of a sudden cut-off, which would be a disastrous thing for the economy. But Theresa May has not been dealing with this. Not that she's necessarily for us leaving on a sudden crash out like that. She is more just dragging her heels and failing to actually do anything about it. Because it's a very difficult position to be in. She's been forced into a position that she was originally against. She actually wanted to stay in the EU, but she's leading her party, and she is leading Brexit because that's what the vote went for. So it's a crazy situation right now in Britain, right? It's a crazy situation, where there is almost a mutiny amongst the Conservatives right now, and it is crazy. The alliance comes after warnings that a cliff-edge Brexit would be catastrophic for the economy. Meanwhile, the DUP, which is the party that's aligned with the Conservatives to have a majority power right now, has told the PM, Theresa May, she must order the Chancellor to change course on Brexit or be sacked. So that's crazy, right? That's crazy stuff going on right now in the UK in politics, and it's really interesting. It's terrifying. I mean, I'm smiling because it is interesting, but it's also terrifying because there is so much uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen. And Theresa May has not been doing good things for this country, many people would say. In fact, even her own party are clearly going against her, so I don't think she has a high approval rating right now. So that's from theweek.co.uk. Thank you to them for that article. Number 2 on that article. So I have 3 articles here, all from CNN, which is not my favorite news source, but I feel like I want to have a nice mix in here. Talking about the wildfires in Canada right now. Because in California right now, because there's some crazy stuff going on over there right now, guys. I had no idea actually until today.
From northern to southern California.
Thank you, CNN, for your autoplay, douchebags. The wildfires blazing across northern California this week have produced the same amount of air pollution as vehicles did in the state in a whole year, according to Shan Refuse. Sounds like he says refuse. An air quality analyst in the Crocker Nuclear Laboratory at the University of California, Davis. So that's 10,000 tons, more than 10,000 tons of PM 2.5, which is particulate matter. It's a term for a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets found in the air. So it's pretty nuts that all this is going on right now. There's a huge wildfires going across California, and the pollution is causing, due to the carbon being released by the fumes and so on, from the trees being burned, and probably the buildings and everything else as well, is causing massive damage to our atmosphere. And probably to the wildlife around there. Goes on to say later in the article, the lasting health effects of wildfires, and it's a quote from Bell saying, "I would say the air quality in Beijing and the current air quality due to forest fires are both very poor, but the sources of the air quality are very different," noting that the wildfire air pollution is different from the kind produced by cars and coal, of course. It's not really a surprise. But that's crazy though that that's going on. It's a side effect of these horrible fires going on.
Sorry.
Again, thank you CNN for your auto-playing articles. When the wildfires in Northern California broke out this week, they spread so fast that many residents were caught off guard. Some told CNN that the smell of smoke or their dogs whimpering were the only warnings they got before the fires tore through their neighborhoods, forcing them to flee their homes in the middle of the night. Now, local emergency management officials and authorities are facing criticism for how they informed residents, and how they didn't, more importantly, right? So that's nuts that people weren't even told. So there is a system in place. It's called the Wireless Emergency Alert System, WEA system. At a news conference on Wednesday, state officials were questioned why agencies had not used this system to notify residents of the approaching fires. And you may recognize this system because it's the screech your cell phones make when an Amber Alert has been issued to your area. Now, I had no idea what this is. It's a great system to have in place. Local agencies must apply for the authority to issue such alerts, which are sent to the participating phone carriers. And according to the FCC, the system sends alerts that are issued directly by the president, alerting the imminent threats to safety or life. Similar to what we're doing right now in Northern Ireland with the storms approaching, right? In one more article from the same source, California inmates have also been helping battle these raging forest fires. Normally these crew, well, at a glance, these crews look like firemen, but it turns out these guys are actually prison inmates. With the help of the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, and the Los Angeles County Fire Department, the State Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation jointly operates 43 adult conservation camps or fire camps throughout the state, according to the Corrections Department. They're called conservation camps due to their purpose. Inmates maintain hiking trails, clear flood channels, and reduce fire danger by cutting brush or large stands of trees when there are no fires going. The inmates are all doing some form of conservation every day and are not on the fire line. So these guys are actually out helping right now, and that's great. They're on the front line. They've been selected for the program. They get 2 weeks of training where they take part in physical training on top firefighting techniques by the fire staff. And when responding to wildfires, the inmates work in crews of 12 to 14 people under the direction of professional fire captains. The crews do very specific jobs. They don't get into the highlight reel or TV airtime. They don't fly a helicopter or drive a fire truck. They cut containment lines. So they cut down what the fire is going to burn, right? They stop the actual fuel from being available for the fire to move through. And that's really good that these guys are being given the opportunity to actually redeem whatever crimes they've done in life, and they've been judged by their fellow countrymen as having committed a crime. And they can actually stand up and try to do something good with their lives and save lives, right? They can save lives and save our world from being polluted this way. But right now, there are crews working on 15 of the wildfires ravaging California. So, best of luck to these guys. And as it says here, these are definitely rehabilitative values that they are learning. Fantastic work. I mean, for God's sakes, if I owned a company and one of these inmates came out and said, I'd like to apply for a job, and I'd look through their resume, their CV, and if I saw that they helped fight off during their time, they volunteered their life on the line to go out and fight Californian wildfires, I'd be like, this person's willing to risk their life for another human being. Why would I not trust them with working in a company, you know? I really hope this does help them. I always feel bad for inmates and how they're and the troubles of trying to get back into normal society. So I want to talk a little bit about the it's not actually an article, it's something I heard on the radio this week. There are plans in Scotland just now to bring in a socialist idea, I would argue socialist light really, idea of a non-profit energy company run by the government, the Scottish government. And the reason for this is there's been some calamities, some issues in the past few years with energy companies, gas companies, electric companies, etc., who have been providing warmth and heating to many Scottish homes throughout the Highlands, throughout the Central, Lowlands, etc., at mixed rates. And this is particularly bad because some years ago there were some promises by the government to introduce a standard rate throughout the whole country, so that those who live in the places where it's more difficult for the power to reach can be subsidized by the rest of the country and helped out effectively, so that they can still get electricity, they can still get heating, and pay the same price for it as everybody else, which is a nice idea. All right. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but it is a nice idea. However, it hasn't gone through. It is not actually being put in place. And so people are generally quite mad. Scottish government was mad at the British government for this as well, and have turned around and said, well, we're just gonna go make our own friggin' energy company. Screw you guys, you know? And it's gonna be a non-profit. Or that's the idea anyway. Now, at first, when I first heard this, I thought, wow, what a brilliant idea. You know, like a non-profit energy company. It means people are going to be paying less for their energy. It'll be subsidized by taxes, no doubt, as well. So, in theory, the poorer pay less than the rich, and so on and so forth. So, it is effectively a really good thing, right? It means that we can really help all. There's another big thing is we have a big crisis in the UK right now with the elderly during winter. We have dozens, up to hundreds, and I have heard some figures in the past years of it being thousands, at least related deaths to the cold. Partly due to the fact that heating is so expensive. A lot of elderly will not turn on their heating unless it's absolutely necessary, or for only a couple of hours per week, or whatever, regardless of